Good morning. CJOH Sports Director Brian Smith is clinging to life this morning, the victim of a gunshot wound to the head. Smith was shot by a lone gunman as he left the station after last evening's newscast. Police are still searching for a suspect. John Ruddle has more.
A police presence the morning after. A command center remains at the spot where Brian Smith was shot. He was struck once in the head moments after he left the building. A 90-minute surgery at Ottawa Civic Hospital last night successfully stopped massive bleeding in Smith's brain, though he remains in very critical condition.
Unfortunately, what we can't do anything about is the damage done to the tissue by the injury and the swelling that is building up as a result of that. His condition is extremely grave, and the next 24 to 48 hours are critical.
Police say the man who fled the scene in a beige vehicle apparently had been stalking Smith.
This suspect was observed in the parking lot at the northeast corner of the CJOH parking lot holding a long-barreled rifle. The suspect was observed point the rifle at Mr. Smith, and 2 shots were fired.
Police say the car was seen at the station earlier in the day. There was one sighting after the shooting as the car sped along Maitland Avenue and then eastbound on the Queensway. Police described the suspect as a 35-year-old white male, 6 feet 200 pounds with short brown hair and a short beard. The shooting has left employees and friends of the 54-year-old anchor in shock.
There were no threats against Brian or anybody else in the building that we're aware of over the last number of weeks. It's so senseless. It is so maddeningly tragic.
Doctors say the next several hours are critical.
He has a very extensive brain injury, and his chances of survival are very poor.
John Ruddle is covering this story this morning. John, what's the latest on Brian's condition?
Well, Glenn, since we last spoke about an hour ago, there really has been no change. Doctors continue to monitor the situation. He's still in intensive care and hooked up to many machines. So it's a matter of waiting and seeing whether the swelling will go down. And at this point, they just don't know.
Is Brian on life support this morning, John?
Indeed, he is. He's on various forms of life support, but the door is closed to his room and they're not allowing visitors, so there's really not a lot of information coming out now.
John, what's the best that doctors can do for Brian this morning?
Well, really, Glenn, just wait and see, because the swelling in the brain is the problem. They did not get the bullet out. They did stop the bleeding, but that's really only part of the solution. So a lot of the fighting that needs to go on now has to be done with Brian himself.
Do police know any more this morning than they did last night?
Well, Glenn, there are 2 noteworthy things about the investigation. It's now been 13 hours, and they've had some time to gather evidence and talk to people. And they now know for sure that Brian was a likely target. It was not a random act, that he was indeed targeted for this. And secondly, they are truly mystified as to the motive. And that's something that they'll be working on today, about the beige vehicle that was seen leaving, trying to find out just what happened.
John, thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Good afternoon. There's a possible break into the investigation into the shooting of CJOH sportscaster Brian Smith. Smith is fighting for his life in hospital after being shot in the head last night. Midday Newsline's John Ruddle reports that this morning a man turned himself in at the Ottawa courthouse and is now being questioned.
There was a flurry of activity as police acted on a tip that a man had turned himself in. Investigators worked through the night after Brian Smith was shot in the CJOH parking lot. A region-wide search centered on an older model beige Crown Victoria. This morning, on word that a man gave himself up at the courthouse, the focus shifted to this LeSabre Park nearby. The man is believed to be inside the Elgin Street police station being questioned. The 54-year-old sportscaster was shot just a few yards from the CJOH entrance. Police say it appeared to be a planned, deliberate attack.
This suspect was observed in the parking lot at the northeast corner of the CJOH parking lot holding a long-barreled rifle. The suspect was observed point the rifle at Mr. Smith, and 2 shots were fired. Mr. Smith then fell to the ground.
John Ruddle standing by now. John, to what certainty do police have concerning the suspect this morning?
Well, there's not a lot of certainty, Glenn, but several witnesses at the courthouse have recounted a similar story, and that is that a man went in about 9:40 this morning and asked to see the sheriff. He looked very calm. He fit the description. He had a beard, although he was clean-shaven. And when he saw the sheriff, he said, "I believe I'm the person you're looking for." So he was interviewed briefly at the courthouse, and then he was brought in a car to the police station here, where he is being questioned further.
Any indication of evidence, if any, from the automobile found by police?
It's really too early to say, Glenn. They looked at the automobile at the courthouse. They surrounded it. They were making sure people stayed away from it, looked in the trunk, that sort of thing. And then about 10 minutes ago, it was towed here to the Ottawa Police Station, where I'm sure they're giving it a thorough going over. Right now, police haven't said anything to us. This is all from witnesses at the courthouse, of which there are several.
Are we going to be hearing anything from the police shortly?
There will be a news conference given by the police at 3:15 here at the Elgin Street Police Station, and hopefully they'll have further information. They're talking to the man right now, so I'm sure they're just as interested as you and me about his story.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Glenn.
Now they're waiting. With injuries like the one Brian sustained, it's never easy for doctors to offer a good prognosis. After last night's surgery, his stay in intensive care has been a difficult wait for his wife and family. Midday Newsline's Lane Fraser is at the Civic Hospital with the latest on Brian's condition. Lane, what can you tell us today?
Glenn, not a lot has changed. Brian Smith's condition remains critical. He was operated on last night here at the Civic Hospital. That II operation helped stop the bleeding. It did not remove the bullet. Doctors tell me the next 24 to 48 hours are critical. There's been a great deal of swelling. Doctors say that when the swelling subsides, they will better be able to assess the damage that has been done. It is fair to say, though, that right now, Brian's prognosis for a full recovery is not good.
The swelling, of course, the most dangerous aspect of all of this?
That's right. Doctors will have to wait and see. Until the swelling goes down, they cannot really assess the damage that's been done.
Lane, how's the family holding up? What kind of a response have we seen from the community at the hospital?
The phones here have been ringing off the hook. The hospital has been inundated with phone calls from right across the country, well-wishers. Brian's wife is at his bedside right now. Alana is there. Her parents are with her. Brian's brother is flying in from the West Coast. His other brother has been contacted in South America. Family and friends of the couple will be arriving in Ottawa throughout the afternoon to lend their support and their prayers here at the hospital.
Any indication of when we'll be hearing more from the hospital?
We'll be touching base with one of Brian's doctors today at 12:30 and see if he has any sort of an update.
Thank you, Lane.
Thanks, Glenn.
As you can imagine, the last 18 hours has left all of us at CJOH in stunned disbelief. While death and tragedy is part of our everyday work in the news media, there is no understanding the events of last night. Searching for answers when the day is filled with little more than questions. We can't imagine why anyone would single out Brian Smith, a man of great personal integrity, a man whose friendship and support has meant so much to so many throughout our community. Max Keeping joins me now in Studio C. Maxwell, I guess one of the things that has been brought home to us loud and clear in the last 18 hours has been a remarkable outpouring from the community that we are proud to work in.
We're very grateful for the support that people have expressed to us in our community and across the country. There's been, there's almost an aching to, I wish I could do something. And I could only say to those people who've called and sent faxes and on the internet that we too in the newsroom have said, gosh, what is it that I can do? And I can only suggest that at this point that they share their hopes and prayers with Alana, Mrs. Smith, Gary and Dennis, and Brian, who remains in a coma at the hospital fighting for his life. We appreciate knowing the kind of caring community that we live in. It reinforces our feeling about this community.
Well, we spend a fair amount of time in our business asking the question why around so many stories, because the why is often the crucial question to understanding a story. And in this case,
Ron, there are 1,000 questions since 7 o'clock last night, and there's not one answer today, and I suspect there will not be one answer tomorrow or next week or next month. It will be for all of us to be introspective, to think about the kind of society that we have that breeds the kind of violent attack that took place last night against Brian Smith, a contributing member of the community, very prominent member of the community, very accessible media personality, to perhaps hug someone close to us a little tighter today and to say, yes, I choose to live here in this community is the kind of community I want for my home. And the outpouring that we've seen today, I believe, is a reinforcement of that again. And to look for answers that won't readily come, whether the justice system moves slowly or quickly. To continue to ask why and to try and figure out ways to make sure that somehow we can stop it on another occasion and another time.
I know that you have been asked this a lot, and since you were first asked this question last night at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and to this time now, what, just past 10 past 12 and the following day, was there any indication, had there been any threats directed at either Brian or anyone else here at the station?
No threats that we're aware of against Brian or anybody else at the station. No editorials on the sportscast that were so provocative as to provoke this kind of response. When Brian finished the sportscast in the studio last night and went back upstairs to the newsroom and cleared up his desk and headed out to the Outaouais to go to a Children's Wish golf tournament with everything seemingly in good stead. Nothing to suggest that anyone, anywhere, would be targeting this man who, in the last 22 years, has been as accessible, if not more accessible than anybody in the media, who has given when anybody asked. And Joshua, who's 12, talking to me this morning, said whenever we saw Brian at the rink, he always came over to say hello. That's the kind of response he had to anybody in the community, and he gave. So no, why Brian Smith? The questions to which there are no answers. And today, I hope that people will see, as we painfully go about our business, that each person within the community has their own pain today, their own sadness, their own triumph. Our job is to provide information to people so that they can make their daily decisions. We're doing that today. We're doing it with our hearts torn in 1,000 pieces. I hope they will see, though, that where sometimes I agree the criticism of us that we're insensitive, that we're invasive, that we try to do our jobs, and the irony is not lost on us today.
Indeed so. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
And we, of course, would join with all of you who have expressed such heartfelt feelings towards Brian's wife, Alana, his mom, his brothers, and his other family and friends who are, of course, at his bedside maintaining a vigil for our Brian. We here at Midday Newsline will press on. We'll bring you updates as the situation warrants, and we'll be back with our program in 2 minutes.